What's up guys, Marko here with Rotate and Relax. Welcome back to beautiful Van Nuys Airport for another episode, all things Cirrus. Did you know? And did you know? My two TCI friends and I discovered something this week that we thought might be important to address. Over the last 10 days, we reached out to 30 Cirrus pilots. Those are people that at least have a minimum of a private pilot license and some of them an instrument license. We discovered that 13 out of 30, 43%, 13 out of 30 people could either not explain to us what the cuffed wing is and or how it works. Guys, that is not good. The problem I'm having with this, that all three of us are having with this, is it's exactly that kind of stuff that gives Cirrus pilots a bad reputation, and well deservingly so. The bigger problem with this is the cuffed wing is a design feature that was implemented to be a safety feature and potentially save your life if you ever, God forbid, need it. Guys, you gotta know the plane that you're flying. If you don't know everything about your plane or the equipment you're flying, you have no business flying it. And by the way, that's not exclusive to Cirrus. It doesn't matter if you're in an F-18 or a Cirrus or a 152. I'm trying to picture myself back in the day, showing up in my MiG-23 and telling the general, I don't know how the wing works. Not gonna fly, guys. When you're up in the air at high altitudes, it's all serious business. You gotta know the equipment you're flying. The way I'm about to explain to you how the cuffed wing works and why it's there is how you should be able to explain it to somebody if they ask you. Every time you design an airplane, if you make a decision for something that's going to give you the benefit of performance, it usually will come at the cost of penalizing something else. So designing an airplane is all about compromises. You get something good here at the cost of something else. The cuffed wing is no different. It does have its penalties, but when you look at what it really gives you in return, it's very well worth the design. It was initially invented by NASA. If, God forbid, you ever find yourself in a situation where you need it, it can really make the difference. Well, let's see how it works. Again, this is called the cuffed wing. If you come a little bit closer, this here, and this is the key part, this section here, the outboard section of the wing, is flying at a lower angle of attack. It is flying at a lower angle of attack. Now, if you come here and you look, you can clearly tell this wing is lower. Your plane will always stall when it reaches that critical angle of attack. It's not speed related. I can stall this plane at 150 knots if I wanted to. It's when it exceeds that critical angle of attack. So if you come up like that and you exceed that critical angle of attack, this portion here will exceed that critical angle of attack sooner, before the outboard portion of the wing, which means this portion of the wing will stall before this portion of the wing stalls. Why does that matter to you? The whole reason this is so important to you is because if the inner portion is stalled and the outer portion is not stalled, that means you still have authority over that portion of the wing. And look where the aileron is. It can get you out of a stall, potentially spin situation. If you get into a really bad uncoordinated stall, you can end up in a spin, and trust me, you do not want to spin a 22 turbo. For two reasons, and I've done a lot of spins in my life. Number one, it's a terrible plane to spin. It's very hard to get out of, and a lot of people that flying them simply don't have the training in it. When you spin an airplane, it's rarely, like in a lesson, pair. Pair, I have all the time in the world. Power, aileron neutral, what is it, rudder next, elevator. Doesn't work like that. Every single one of you that flies these planes, and I send all of my students can comment on here and they'll tell you, every single one of my students I send to at least one upset recovery training weekend, and every single one of them will come back and be like, whoa, I had no idea. So to really hammer this in, if the inboard portion of the wing is flying at a higher angle of attack than the outboard portion, and you're approaching that critical angle of attack, well, guess what? This one is going to reach it sooner, right, than this one. This part of the wing has stalled, but here you still have authority and ailerons that might potentially get you out of a critical situation. So the cuffed wing is the wing divided into two parts, with one portion flying at a different angle of attack than the outer portion, which is obviously at a lower angle of attack, so that it stalls later, giving you authority while you're stalled to get out of that stall. That's exactly how you should understand it and be able to explain it to your TCI if they ask you about it.
Knowing your airplane isn't optional. Hello everyone, my name is Colin Boone, founder of Flight Sim University, Gold Seal flight instructor, and Gulfstream pilot. And having knowledge of your airplane and its systems is paramount. Your checklist is an amazing tool, but it won't save you in every scenario. Even in the Gulfstream G150 I fly, which is not a memory item airplane, there are still things that are necessary for you to know in case of an emergency. Like Marco says, knowing your airplane isn't an issue that discriminates against people of higher skill or higher time than you. I actively fly about 10 different types of airplanes, and I study harder than I ever have before to stay current on all of them. So you actually have this very unique advantage when you own and operate your own aircraft. Everything's exactly how you left it. You get to oversee all of the maintenance and everything like that. You are the pilot in command. There is absolutely no excuse for you not to know the ins and outs of your airplane. So if it's been a little while since you've been through some emergencies and abnormal scenarios, take an instructor up with you and get current on all of those things and study your systems. And anybody who knows me knows I love to use flight simulators for training, so if you can't get out to your airplane but you have access to a flight simulator, go run through all the procedures on there. That is far better than taking no action and being unprepared the next time you show up to your airplane. Back to Marco.
Now again, and I'm fully aware, and I'm as guilty as anybody else, when we fly at 22 turbo or even at 20, most of us are on autopilot all the time, but I'm going to sound like a broken record. You're going to hear it every episode. You're only as good as your hand flying skills. And if you're flying, 200, 300, 400 hours a year, and you're not using an opportunity here and there to practice hand flying or practice stalls or practice upset recovery somewhere at a training facility near you, you're really missing out. And I'm telling you, you cannot fly an airplane, let alone own an airplane, without understanding something that important. I hate to say it in a way, when we realized 13 people couldn't tell us how this really works or what it is or what the purpose of it is, I hate to tell you, but, some of us were not surprised. Let me ask you a question and really put, your hand on your heart. Let me ask you a question. If I put you on the spot right now, can you tell me, A, what this is, the name, and B, how it works? This thing right here, and this thing right here. Could you actually tell me what these two things are, what they're called, and more importantly, what they're designed to do? All right, guys, I hope this was a good refresher on how the cuffed wing works. You gotta know your airplane. You gotta know your airplane. There's just simply no way around it. And we, Cirrus pilots, need to sometimes be more part of the solution than being part of the problem. Anyway, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to this great Facebook group, the SR 2022 EnvisionJet group that I run. Thanks to all the TCIs. We really look forward to seeing you next week. If you have any questions, reach out, leave your comments. Really looking forward to it. Join me on my Instagram, as always, if you like some rock and roll with your aviation. And we'll see you next week for Rotate and Relax. Remember, stay relaxed after rotation, and see you soon.
Power fluid system focus on 50, 27 left, middle land, 230 and 27 left.